Welcome, everyone. Just waiting for the connections to connect. So we're here on Facebook. There we go, live on Facebook, live on Instagram. So, welcome everyone to today's Friday's inspiration. Today, I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people are confused about, and there's such a broad range of this subject that um, I just want to give a little input on it. So, this is about the idea of what is being conscious. So, when I talk about consciousness, I'm talking about the levels of being aware, being awake. You know, you hear a lot of people talking about being woke. I'm woke, waking up. So, this is all part of that consciousness. And there are lots of levels to consciousness. And fortunately, it's something that can be measured so we can know exactly how conscious we are. And so that's really helpful. And once we know what level we're at, then we can aspire to even greater heights. So these levels of consciousness, I'm going to wear my glasses for this so I can see my notes. um, so a couple of interesting things about this consciousness is that um, the 1% who is basically controlling everything that's going on the planet right now, they are only at 15% consciousness. And so to me, this is really encouraging. Hey, everybody, thanks for showing up on Instagram and Facebook. Maria, good, and Roma, and I don't know these other handles. So, um, so the 1% is only 15% conscious, which to me is very encouraging. The fact that we can not only get to 100% consciousness, but then after that, then we can start measuring the levels of enlightenment, how enlightened we are. So the 1% is only 15% consciousness, and that's what's trying to rule and control the planet. And I think I've said it before, how it's sort of an insult to our infinite intelligence that we can become so much more conscious of what they are. And so they've been using their might and their power basically to control humanity. And so we have spiritual tools that are far beyond their consciousness. And this is what is encouraging and exciting to me as we move forward into the unknown realms of where we're headed. So, as you know, a lot of people are asleep. One of the things that helps wake them up is doing research. I know that when I left the religious cult that I grew up in, that was one of the things that helped to wake me up is I started doing research. I read a book by Ray Franz. He was one of the members of the governing body of this organization, and he wrote a book called Crisis of Conscience. And so that really helped to open my eyes about what was really going on in this religious cult and how I'd been deceived. And so, you know, I after I left that group, I ran a support group for former Jehovah's Witnesses for 12 years. So every month I would have a meeting, and I did that every month for 12 years. 9 years? No, every month for 9 years, sorry. It's still a long time. And so every time I was doing conducting this meeting and told a little bit of my story, it helped to kind of take some of the charge off of what I had experienced, having grown up as a Jehovah's Witness, born and raised from birth. And so I left when I became suicidal around the age of 38. So, so that was a lot of waking up. And you know, a lot of people think that they're awake, or they had an awakening and now they're awake. But unless you can actually measure it, you don't really know, because I know that I've experienced many wakings up, many ahas, and very big experiences that helped push me to a whole nother level. And much of this was using plant medicine, which really helps to accelerate things. But you don't have to take plant medicine to wake up or to become more conscious. So that's for sure. But it is an inward journey, you know, this waking up. is something that requires work. So, no, you talk about uh, when you talk about or you hear about people doing the work, this is part of that work is going inward to find those places that want more light, more love, maybe more healing, so that they can wake up these other parts of us that we haven't accessed yet. Because, I think it was Marianne Williamson that said that, it's not our, um, I'm sure I'm going to butcher this her quote, but the one about it's that we're afraid of really of our power. That's um, really what scares us is really stepping into the greatness of our power. And so we are so much more powerful than we even have a clue. And the more and more that I wake up myself and becoming more conscious and, if you want to call it enlightened, doesn't feel enlightened. I always thought that enlightened would feel like you could be able to walk on water or manifest things out of thin air. But but at any rate, these are all things to aspire to, these waking up in different levels. So why do we want to be conscious? And then I'm going to talk about a little bit about the how. Then we're going to do a little bit of meta clearing so that you can step into more of your more consciousness for yourself. So why we want to be more conscious is because that's where all the more juice in life is. The more awake we are, the more conscious we are, the more beauty and love and radiance we see in the world. So it's kind of fascinating in that the more conscious we are, the more we're aware of how much we don't know. And so it's pretty interesting. You'll take a jump, and where we were before, we think when we were at this level, we thought, wow, we were so awake or aware or conscious or whatever. And then you take another leap and you go, wow, I had no idea. And so this is an ongoing process that to me is just really exciting. Like I keep asking, how does it get any better than this? And then I get to see, I'm shown this is how it gets even better. And so I've talked about in the past how asking that question is not showing any kind of disrespect or ungratefulness for what we do have. It's just stepping into that inquiry of knowing, wow, there's even more. I wonder, how does it get better? And so then we let the universe show us when we ask that question. So the big how do we become more conscious? How do we become more awake? Well, the process that I use is what I've used to become more awake, besides plant medicine. But I've been introduced and been given information, knowledge, downloads, whatever you want to call it, about how to process things in our energy field. And so I've created um, a way of running energy through our energy field in a way that clears the blocks, those lower, more dense energies that keep us held down in that unconsciousness. And you may notice that if you've ever done a meditation and you've like fallen asleep, you kind of keep dozing off. That is not necessarily falling asleep. That can often be what I call releasing unconscious energy. And so that unconscious energy is that energy that keeps us from ourselves and our pain, our emotional, those emotional things that we hang on to, those emotional charges, those emotional memories and beliefs that are stuck in places that keeping us held down. And so often we don't want to go to those painful places because it's painful, right? Or it's scary. And so this unconscious energy keeps us from all of these places that we think we're being protected from, but really it's just keeping us small. It's keeping us pushed down and not in the fullness of our radiance and our joy and our love and everything that's more possible. So today I want to walk you through another MediClearing, and we're going to be focusing on those places where you may still be a little unconscious. So we'll just see what shows up, because the beauty of this system that I call running your energy is every time you come to the operating this system, this way of running your energy, when you come with a different intention, you find all new things. It's really fascinating. So today we're going to focus on unconscious energy. So if you find yourself dozing off or kind of almost falling asleep, just kind of go with it and just know that you're releasing that unconsciousness that's keeping you from these higher elevations. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, we're going to start with that grounding cord. So if you want to close your eyes, you can. You can do this also with your eyes open. That's a little more advanced, but I'm sure you're quite capable. So you're going to imagine that line of energy that goes from the base of your spine all the way to the center of the planet. And we're just going to begin to release all the energies that keep you unconscious. And you want to make this line of energy like big, like at least the size of a cantaloupe, or this is at least kind of like the minimum size I like to use. So that's grounded now. And so next you're going to imagine roots that are going from the bottoms of your feet all the way to the center. It's going to go through the earth, and it's going to come out the other side. So this is next level grounding. This is really getting grounded, because those of you who have bigger trees need a more substantial grounding. So when it goes to the other side, it's going to wrap all the way around the earth. And from there, then you're going to start sucking up the energy of abundance, the energy of our feminine Mother Earth energy, up through your legs and your knees. And then it's going to go through your thighs. And then when it hits that grounding cord, it's going to go down the grounding. And we're just going to create that loop of energy through your legs. And then next, we're going to pull in your worry circle. So ideally, you wouldn't have a worry circle. Let's see if you do. Yes, it's out to the third layer around your root chakra. So this is causing you to not feel safe to step into your power. So we want to pull that energy in. Pull that energy all the way into the core. And then we're just going to send that down your grounding. So this worry circle holds worry. That's why I called it that. It holds a lot of worry, stress, anxiety, doubts, fear, uncertainty. And so it's very simple just to release these energies just by sending it down the grounding cord, where it gets recycled back into more useful energies. So we're just going to let that grounding, that ultra grounding, operate in no effort, just like gravity. Hey, Julia. And then we're going to reach way up high above our crown. We're going to start connecting with pure source. And we're going to start bringing that energy into your crown. So it's stopping right at the top of your crown. And again, there's a circle at the top of your crown. And the circle is congested out to that third layer. Again, this is relating to your power. So this is where you give yourself permission. So let's pull in this energy that's not allowing you to give yourself permission to have full access to your personal sovereignty. We're just going to send that energy down through that central core all the way to the grounding cord, through the grounding. Okay, great. So now let's bring pure source down through the crown, and that's sixth chakra. And it's stopping right at the throat. So we're going to go out to that third layer. So this is where you don't quite have permission to have your voice. Like maybe you bite your tongue a lot, or you don't speak up because you don't want to rock the boat and cause problems. So what what results from that is when you don't have your voice and you don't feel like you can speak up, then the anger and resentment starts to build and build and build until finally your voice comes out like Mount Vesuvius, and you say things you didn't want to say or mean to say, or it comes out a little distorted because it passes through that angry filter. So this is where it starts. It starts with letting go of this energy that's preventing you from having the power of your influential voice. Okay, great. So now as we bring pure source down through the throat, down into your heart, stopping again. In the heart, this time it's going all the way out to the 15th layer. This is where that 1% hangs out, who operate with no heart. So we're going to pull their energy into the core of our hearts, and we're going to pull it up. As I've been instructed to start sending these energies off planet, the energies of the 1% and the reptilian energies and any fear entities. So as that's coming up through this central core, it's getting stuck right at the 6th chakra. So let's stop there. We're going to go out to the 15th layer. We're going to pull in the energy that relates to the 1% and their beliefs. So what do their beliefs look like? That's the energy of the free-range slave. So right now, humanity is pretty much slaves to the machine. We're all part of this commerce machine where we're, the influence to buy things and all this stuff that we apparently need. And then we have to work really hard to make the money for the stuff. So this is all part of this old paradigm that's been falling apart, but is continuing to fall apart as this 1% is losing their power. And they are not going to go down easy. But when we have really powerful tools like this that are conscious, that are creating more consciousness than the 1% has, then when you become more conscious, you're going to be aware of the fact that we have more power than they are giving us credit for, and even more power than we even realize. But this will make us less fearful of the 1% because we know how to master our energy, so we know how to pull their energies out of our energy field. We know where they live and exist, so we can remove them. Sometimes it's on a daily basis, but that's better than being influenced by them, right? And eventually you'll get to the point where we don't need to keep doing that because our energy field is strong, it's powerful, and they don't bother us anymore. So that's what they're afraid of. More people like us who are waking up. So, okay, good. So now we can pull this energy. We were pulling an energy. I forget what we were doing here. We were pulling, let's see, that 1% up and out. So we're coming down the backside. I think we're still coming down the backside. Okay. As we're coming down the back through the heart and the solar plexus and the 2nd chakra and the root. Okay, good. So we're spilling down the root, so we're vertical. Now connected way up high to pure source and rooted real deeply into our Mother Earth. That's really a very powerful, secure alignment. I don't know if you can feel that. As you become more conscious, you'll be able to feel these energies more, and you'll be able to have access to more of your intuition and your knowing. So let's mix these two energies. We're going to bring a 50-50 mixture up the front, real close to the spine as it comes up through the 2nd and the 3rd, and up into the heart and the throat, 6, crown, through the rings. Great job. And then it's going to cascade down through all the layers of our aura. And let's pay special attention to the third layer. So this is going to help remove some of that effort, pushing, chasing, forcing energy. So we're going to start at the top. We're just going to let that energy seep down through this layer like paint being poured over a balloon. And when the aura gets below our feet, it merges with that grounding cord. So then it has a place to release. And then we're going to jump all the way out to the 15th layer. Just pretend you know where that is. And we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to lift this energy up through. So it gets kind of heavy right around the solar plexus. So this is where they're trying to hold down the energy at our solar plexus. So we're going to pull this energy up. And then when it gets above the head, it's going to go through that central core, and we're just going to send it off to the center of the galaxy. Okay, great. And then we're going to ground the 20th layer of our aura, starting at the top. So this is the most powerful part of our energy field, of our aura. It has access to 360 senses and 360 degrees of awareness. So when you're talking about being conscious and awake and aware, our awakened predator energy in this 20th layer will have full access to that when we're really conscious. So we're just going to ground this energy. There we go. And then let's do the 25th layer, the fear entities. So if you're paying attention, you'll notice that in the 15th layer is the 1%, the 25th layer is the fear entities, pushing against this powerful awakened predator energy, trying to hold our expansion and our growth and our evolution down. So we are lifting these fear entities and this fear up out of our energy field. You might notice it gets kind of heavy around the heart. So we lift that up and out of this energy all the way off planet. Excellent. And then we're going to do the 30th layer, the reptilian energies. So that's another energy trying to keep us from where we're headed, which is where? The 40th layer. The 40th layer is where oneness exists. This is what everybody's talking about, how we're all one. We are, but we're not experiencing it yet because we're not connected in this 40th layer. This is where we're heading. This is the energetic anatomy of all this. So let's lift that reptilian energy out of this 30th layer, starting at the bottom, lifting up, 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 up. Gets kind of heavy right around the head. Those are all the beliefs and the thoughts and the thinking that they have us thinking that are not our thoughts. But if you're not conscious, you're not going to know that, because you think that everything you think is yours just because you thought it, which is not true. And just because you feel it doesn't mean it's yours either. So we're just going to lift this energy out of this 30th layer. Excellent. Okay, great. So next, we're going to clear the circle of reciprocity, the right arm, so the energy, start at the heart. And then we're going to take the energy from the heart and the throat and our 6th chakra and our crown and all of our rings, whether you know how many you have or not, doesn't matter, it still works. We're going to take all of those energies, and then we're going to start bringing it out your right arm. That's the right giving side out into the world. And I'm just going to, so it's stuck right here. It's because you're not giving. You might notice how you're not giving. This is why. And this will also mean that you're not receiving, because receiving starts with giving, right? So we're going to open this circle so you can give and receive. So just because we're sequestered and locked down or whatever all of that is, we can still find ways to give and to receive. Okay, great. So it's coming through the shoulder, and then it's going to come through the front and back of the heart, back out the arm again. So it's creating a circle of reciprocity through the front and back of the throat. Excellent. Through the front and back of that sixth chakra, so that you can clear those limiting and lack mindsets that prevent you from really being able to give and receive. And then also through the crown. Excellent. And then through all of your rings, out the right arm, in the left. Excellent. So this is the basic process of what I call running your energy. If you've never done it before, or you lost the link, or you can't find it, there is a link in the bio for Instagram and on Facebook for this 20-minute meditation. So it's basically what we're doing. And, I'm not on here every day, although I am leading a group for 33 days as we explore the energy of moving towards courageous leadership. So, but if you want to be able to do this on a regular basis, find that link or get the link and sign up. It's free. And then you can do this process every day, because this is the work. It takes work. It takes practice. This is a practice of removing these energies on a daily basis. So the truth is that our energy is running 24/7, whether we know about it or not. Just like our heart keeps beating, right? We don't have to sit down and make sure our heart's running. Otherwise, we'd be in big trouble. We'd be dead. So doing this on a daily basis is super important. And this runs automatically. But when you sit down to run your energy, and the more conscious you are, the more you're going to be able to pick up on the places that are blocked, the places where the energy is not flowing. And so that's what all of this is about, is becoming more conscious and aware and awake, so that you can master your energy. And you don't have to be the effect of this oppressive 1% influence, which is hell-bent on eliminating a lot of us, unfortunately. So I don't plan on being one of those, because I plan on being awake, conscious, aware of what they're doing, how they're operating. So I am not going to be blindsided by them. And I know how they operate. And so this is how you can also not be blindsided by them either, and start really mastering your own energy. So I suggest you get that link. And for those of you who are interested or ready for something bigger, the place that everyone starts, if they decide that they want to work with me, is to get a vibrational altitude report. I measure 40 different things in there without ever talking to you, knowing anything about you, or needing to speak to you. And I will send you a 17-page report with all of my findings and where everything is. And that only costs $79. So it's there's not a lot of money in that for me, because it takes almost an hour for me to do. But at any rate, that's where everybody starts. Then I know where you're at energetically. You know where you're at. And if you're a healer, and you know how to, maybe you have your own system. It could be tapping, it could be some other way. But if you have another system or way of moving energies, this way you'll know exactly where it is. And then you can go and clear it. Become more conscious, awake, aware. So that's what I wanted to share today. And thank you everyone for showing up. Let's see who's here today, and see if you have any questions or comments. Hey, Maria and Wendy, thanks for showing up, and Roma, and Milo, and Z, great, and Deborah, great. Thank you, everyone. Julia, for showing up. Erica, and some of these other names I don't know. Somebody who's unamazed. Well, great. I hope you guys all go out and enjoy this weekend. It's going to be so hot here in Vegas. I'm staying for a few weeks in Vegas, and it's going to be super hot this weekend. So it's an indoor AC day. Well, go out, enjoy your weekend, and sending much love. I will be back on Tuesday for a pop up. If you are lucky enough, you'll get called. You might get caught, um, called on to get a little pop up clearing, energy clearing. So show up for that, same time, 11:11 on Tuesdays. All right, sending much love. Go off and enjoy your weekend and keep asking my favorite question. I only have to go into a state of wonder now to wonder what that is. How? How does it get any better than this? And then stay in that blissful question of, I wonder. Okay, have a great weekend. Bye bye.